John Keim, ESPN Commanders insider, joins us now. You can hear him on the John Keim Report as well. What up, Johnny?
What up, fellas? How are you?
We're good. We were just kind of saying, I'm curious if you agree.
I agree.
Perfect.
There we go.
Let's close up shop. Here come Grant and Danny. The Tuesday practice, I thought was the best one they had so far. Then
offensively, especially.
Sure. Then they get an off day, and I feel like today built from that. It feels like they're starting to build some momentum from practice to practice.
I think Dan Quinn has been very big on ramping things up. That's like a big phrase for him with practices. So it is funny, though, because they're not going exceptionally long, but
they are
adding
short
to it. They
handling the business, though.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like,
the intensity goes up daily, but
correct. And so I don't measure it by how the length of time on all that, but so I do think it's if you're getting your stuff in, which it seems like they're doing. But yes, JP, I agree. Like they've certainly ramped it up and worked up to this day where it was, first of all, it's hot, but then you get the one-on-ones going, and I think it's a lot more. To be honest, it's a lot more fun for us to watch these kind of days because you get those one-on-ones and it's great.
Oh yeah. But I just think that, the way Dan does it, very much so. Joe did it the same way. We didn't practice 2 hours.
Right, you don't have to.
We were out there hour 45, hour 50 minutes, and it was over with. I'm talking about complete practice. Yeah. And that's stretching included.
Well, listen, I mean, and this is a little bit different, but like you said with Joe, but like Bill Walsh was like that too. Back in the day, it was 90 minutes.
Yeah. But
if you handle your stuff, you're in and out. Now and so I think if you're efficient with it and you're getting your stuff in,
and the fact that they can finish early every day, it means that they're picking up stuff. They have understandings of the concept, and they're producing it out there.
Yeah.
Because let's be real. Every coach that want to just go out there that quick, if you're not getting your stuff right, they'll keep you out there longer.
Oh, for sure. And they'll make you do it again.
Yeah.
I think the hard part is there are some guys that like at the back end of the roster who don't get the same amount of reps that maybe they would in a longer practice. But I think overall they've been efficient.
I agree with that. And I think not in when they get to 11s, obviously, when they're doing like full team work, but when they go through drills, especially early on, and I kind of think this will change and like actual 11-on-11 stuff will start to take up more time. But they were often running two versions of the same drills at once. Right. So the one allotment of time, whether it's an 8-minute period, you're doubling the workload.
Right.
And now we didn't see that today. I mean,
we've seen that before.
I feel like we've seen that at various times. It was funny. I talked to Cosby last week or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, man, the only time you get to catch your breath is when we're actually doing 11-on-11 because you get those huddles." Right. And he said that was by design. That's kind of what the staff had told them. It is interesting they've eschewed the one-on-one stuff until today.
Right.
In previous iterations, we saw a ton of one-on-one, and I don't know that. Listen, the answer over the past 20 years hasn't been correct, so maybe the one-on-one time isn't right. I don't know. It's just something that you notice different.
And I think so much of that is competition, right? And but I think, and maybe BMitch, maybe you see it more, but I know he's very big on talking about adding competitive drills within the practice, right? Mm-hmm. And because that's what you want, right? It's competition, and sometimes it's the 2-point play. It's this or that. It's non-scripted plays in a late game situation.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've always seen as much of that before, but it's even little things like you watch the D linemen and they're having competitions, and I don't know if it's every day, but I've seen it where who's first off the ball to hit the bag. And that may be going where all the special teams are going. So I think that's part of it, but obviously you want it one-on-one against the other side of the ball.
Oh yeah.
So I thought, I'm curious to see how that evolves here. I don't think we saw it I thought we saw way more of that under Jay Gruden than we did the last couple of years under Ron Rivera. So, I mean, last couple of years, it seemed like it was like one day and not the next. With Gruden, it was like every day. And it's fun to watch. But yeah, but I think they build in some of those other competitions throughout practice.
One thing though, and I was talking with Tischler about this on the podcast, especially in the Richmond days where there was some semblance of like salesmanship going on down there. Like they had agreed to these crazy terms with the city of Richmond and they were getting paid. Like, I feel like, and I'm not saying this was Jay or a coordinator or Bruce or whoever, I'm not even saying it's Dan. I like to think Dan had nothing to do with it. But they did a lot more in the Richmond days to get a pop from the fans. Like Robert would do it. He'd run down the sidelines. Like it seemed like they were there to be an entertainment product, and that is wrong. And like
that all came. That was everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't just the players. Everybody was out there for that. These dudes seem to be about their business.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're definitely more about that, and I think you also see that too. The way they handle Jayden Daniels, and in Richmond, you just seen a big banner of Jayden Daniels. Dude. Walking through the door like, hey, buy some season tickets. Here's the hope. Here's Jayden. And he's going to be out there signing autographs all the time. They're going to do this. With this group, it's a lot more muted. Yeah. Like let him, and as Adam Peters said this about the starting job, but let it happen naturally, right? Yeah. Let him become all that naturally. And you don't have to force that. I think what they're trying to do, instead of just selling hope, is like, hey, this product is going to be not just this person or whatever, but you're trying to build a better product overall, not just trying to sell hope.
He may ultimately be the most important part, but he's just a part.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you got to understand. I think that's the way that they go about it. He is probably more important than anybody out there. His development is.
There would have been billboards.
But he is just a part of it.
And he knows that. And like, I think, and here's the funny thing is, he's not coming in here thinking he's like, I've got to save this place. I've got to be this. It's like, I'm coming here to play my role. Now, that role may be to be the face of the franchise, to be the leader, to be this, but it may be to be something else, but he's coming here to do that. He's not coming here. He's saying the right things with it. And I don't think it's just something he says. I think it's something he believes because I think he's been very consistent with that. So I agree. Like he understands I'm here to play a role, and whatever that role is, that's what I'm going to play.
Totally.
I totally agree with you. And I think he will pull that off too. I mean, you don't want to get overly optimistic or out over your skis or anything on August 1st, but Brian and I were kicking this around.
Hall of Fame.
We've seen a lot of bad quarterback play, right?
Just a little bit.
He's the best today. Jayden, rookie season, 1 week, 9 days, whatever it is, into camp, is the best passer since, I'd say, at least Alex.
Yeah, for sure, Alex, right? I mean,
and it might be Kirk.
It might be Kirk because I think Alex, even as a passer in this system, was kind of working his way to that. It wasn't like the offense was great in 2018 before he got hurt. It was building to something.
Right.
But he knew how to manage the game. I think the one thing to me that impresses me about Daniels, it's not just the results that we see, the completions that we see, it's the stuff you hear behind the scenes. Yep. And I always go back to that because I think that's how you have to build a quarterback. And it's the stuff like, how is he handling the operation of the offense? Mm-hmm. And I think that's big. The cadences, the play calls, the checks, those things I think are areas where I think they see that behind the scenes that he's doing well with that. So I think if you want to feel good about where this is going, it's about that because we see the other stuff. You see the arm, he has good touch, you see the talent, you see the electric running ability. But if you don't hear and see this other stuff, the other stuff is going to only take you so far.
That little inside
even when he don't complete passes, sometimes he makes the right decision.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's my point. And if you do that consistently, like if Jayden Daniels, heaven forbid, if he gets hurt, he can still play in this league because he can pass the ball. I think he understands how to play quarterback first and foremost, and he happens to be a guy who can really run.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. I think there's going to be some design runs, and everybody's just got to prepare for that. And this staff wasn't here 12 years ago.
What he can do.
Right. You'd be nuts not to do it.
Robert wasn't hurt on a design run.
Right. He was in the pocket.
It was in the scrambles.
Yeah, the nada one first.
And I think this is where Daniels has to do it too, is knowing when to cut off a play. And, a guy's a competitor and you try to get those extra yards, but sometimes because that's where Robert got hurt, was trying to get that extra yard against Baltimore initially.
And Robert did the stuff where he tried to bait guys into hitting him as he was going out of bounds and stuff. It was just
he was trying to show how tough he was.
Just chill, dude.
Yeah, get down, get out of bounds, get to the next play.
Where are you concerned still? I mean, they were 4-13 last year. I think we've started a starting, if you will, secondary seems to be emerging. How do you think they are on the edges of that?
So I think I don't know if it's his concerns as much as you still have questions. So the edge, I think they're better than they were after the trade deadline, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, they're more solid there.
I think the floor is higher.
I think the floor is high. I think there's going to be more consistency than what, and I mean, Montez Sweat's a very, very good player. Like, I think that's when you still would like to see him here. But I think after that point, and even with Chase, like, there was inconsistencies there. Can you be more? Cleveland Farrell is a very good run defender. But they're going to I think what I'm curious to see with the edge is more how do they manufacture the pressure, because they do more things. Like last year, it was all, hey, go get your guy, right? Go get the guy. Beat this guy, go get this guy. I think they're going to try and create more up front. So that's where I'm curious to see the impact of that, not just on but guys like Frankie Louisville is a heck of a pass rusher.
Sure.
That's going to help.
I think he's a heck of a player, man.
I think he's a really good. He plays fast.
He plays fast and all over the place.
Violent. Yeah, he's fast and violent. I mean, he's, so I think but I do have questions about the pass rush off the edge. Sure. I think they've done a good job with this defense of maybe reducing some of the responsibilities they have to allow them to play faster. What's the impact on Forbes and St. Juste moving forward when we see them against the Jets and the Dolphins? And then, of course, then the offensive line, where's the tackle play at? I've liked so far what I've seen of Brandon Coleman. I think he can play in this league. At what point and where, we'll see. But I think he can play.
Me too.
But we have to see him against other people too.
Totally.
So
Jets are going to be a hell of
And I think it's going to be
I'm going to love that competition.
It's going to be very revealing. And so that's why I say you have questions. Is it a concern? I don't know yet, because these guys are new.
Right.
We don't know exactly where he's at in his development until we see them against more in pads and more against other teams.
Let's get to the important thing of the day. Okay. The Commanders, we all get season-long media credentials, and the Commanders this year have offered to provide headshots.
Yeah.
So we got to go inside. We got to get our
BMitch
pictures
got the
taken.
glamour shot headshot. I thought that was pretty cool. You brought that in. Get your glamour shots.
Are you on tux? What are you wearing?
I'm naturally glamour when they just look at my face, man. I wake up like this.
Now, so BMitch is going to wear a tux. What are you going with, Johnny?
I've got a tie. I got a coat and tie because
better hope it's inside.
It is inside. Otherwise, I'm going to look like Albert Brooks in broadcast news. For anybody who remembers that.
Yeah, sure.
But it is like this is doubling as my ESPN headshot too. So,
ooh, all right.
So that's why I had to go with the coat and tie.
All right.
I'm not doing all that.
Are you just wearing that black T-shirt you're wearing?
Damn, Skippy. They said they're doing a headshot, not a body shot.
I am curious if it is like a headshot that make you tilt all weird, whatever, or if it's the whole body.
Just take my face.
I don't want
this right here is all you need.
I don't want a mug shot. It's got to be something where.
How many mug shots have you had, John?
I haven't had any.
All right.
But do I need to have that pensive looking off to the side look? I don't know.
You got to give him like the Step Brothers, like curl your fist up. Thank you for joining us, dude.
Thanks, guys.
That's our guy, John Keim. Give him a follow at John_Keim, Keim. Check out the John Keim Report on YouTube.